Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Brandon Wynn of the Critical Failure channel, and this video is about a character concept about the LizardFolk Necromancer that I've been thinking about for the past couple days ever since, well, I've had the LizardFolk wizard in mind, but not a Necromancer specific character. But this part, like the Necromancer part, spawned from AJ Pickett's Velsharoon video, and how he kept talking, well, not kept, I shouldn't say that, but like he referenced on a couple times how he thought it'd be cool to see characters about this, and how you could see character concepts about it and such. And I immediately started thinking of this, and to the point to where basically, like, to give a backstory of this specific character to which I hope to play it, it's a LizardFolk again, and he's not the first one to start trying to find a Lich Potion. Actually, like 5 generations ago, or 6 generations, it depends on how you want to play it, but 5 or 6 generations ago in this one, specific to me, the LizardFolk ended up losing their numbers a lot through disease or something like that. I'll talk to my DM about that, but the numbers of the LizardFolk had started dwindling much more, and they were losing a lot of people. So they started abducting a lot of people, trying to find gods and stuff like that that they could call out to find a way to live longer and stuff like that. And eventually they found Velsharoon, and they kept taking people. They weren't looking specifically for Velsharoon, but they heard of many gods. There's Tiamat, you know, Bahamut, and stuff like that. So they even heard of devils and stuff like that. So they were going through a lot of people. And so I thought it'd be cool to like basically have them do a mass, like instead of like going through devils and stuff like that and demons, my characters went through gods first, or these characters went through gods first, and eventually, like, they heard from no one except Velsharoon. Velsharoon, because of how he is, was like straight up was telling them, I'll tell you how to make a lich, I'll tell you how to make the Lich Potion, and in turn your entire tribe will work for me. You get me magical secrets. And they're completely down for that. They started making, like, essentially the tribe shaman is who makes the Lich Potion, and they have him being the lead researcher, and there's people that go out and they try and find magical secrets. So there's like essentially the LizardFolk equivalent to a wizard, but they're more for learning the secrets rather than actually learning it for themselves. So it's like, say they learn how to cast Fireball, and say Velsharoon magically didn't know how to do that, but they learn how to cast it, but they never cast it because they're just not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for the shaman. So they're essentially the book that a wizard would have on standby. And so I thought that would be really cool. And it's now generations later. The tribe itself has a lot of people. Your father is the tribe shaman, and I think LizardFolk reach adulthood at 14, so I would say that your character is like 15 or 16, and your father is not much older than you. I would say he'd be like 30s, 40s, depends on how you want to play it. But your father is like trying to get all this stuff together. You got most of the stuff, like maybe 1 or 2 ingredients left over, and I thought it'd be cool for you guys to talk to your DMs, or GMs, however you say it, to figure out what that is, or if your GM or DM wants to be a dick and just make you get all the stuff, and it's going to take you forever just to get in the first place. Like, many channels have stated that it takes very, very long time to get the ingredients. So I could totally see your character being on the brink of death getting this Lich Potion and then giving it to someone else, because, you know, there's no point of him becoming one, and just give it to, like, say his son, because they're like, I'm not going to be useful much longer, I'm probably going to die, you're much younger, and stuff like that. Give it to him, even though they don't know the process of becoming a Lich. They don't know what a Lich is specifically, meaning that they're eternal. They just know that they're going to live forever, but they also know that they're not going to be as useful in terms of a couple other things. So I thought it'd be cool for this to be like your your character, say the LizardFolk, is ignorant on the fact that he could still be mobile, he could still be doing stuff, but they think that he's essentially going to be like trapped within a specific circle or something like that, and that's how like Velshroon could have like played it, saying like they can only go but so far as this lich, and they're just gonna have to be like doing whatever they can. They're gonna be making pacts with demons or whatever to try and break it. I don't know, it doesn't really matter, or whatever, it really doesn't matter. And it sounds kind of hypocritical to like become a lich and then Velshroon be like, you're kind of screwed, you have to stay within the circle, but never said that this circle couldn't be large, you know. And you know, that'd be really cool to see your DM or GM do that to you. But with the way that I want it and how this character concept would work is you have only a few more items, into which it could still take a few years in game to get these items. It doesn't matter on that end. But basically you're trying to get whatever these things are, get back to your tribe's location, become the lich, or your father becomes the lich. It really doesn't matter. I think it'd be really cool for you to become the lich, and then from then on your character, even though he's in a party, his sole point in being in the party is to get more magical knowledge. Like, he's already doing that along the way, doing all these things, but his entire point is to get more knowledge. So he's willing to stick with these people that you're traveling with to do that. And you know, another thing is that while these guys are getting all these things, they're not only getting it for one potion, they're getting it for as many potions as they can. So say you need, like, I know it's like 500,000 gold, if I'm correct, to create a lich potion. So it's like, he wouldn't be only getting 500,000 gold, you know. It's like they're going to be getting as much as they can, getting as much, even though it seems pointless for them because they don't really need gold, they're getting as much as they can of it. So they're going to be scrounging through pockets, they're going to be pickpocketing people, they're going to be selling things they don't need. So like, say they pick up armor from a deceased guy, and you know, they could sell that, say it's like leather armor, 10 gold right there, you know. Like, they'll do anything for that gold. And considering the fact that like how I would say LizardFolk are, they have a natural armor, and I think it's 13 plus it's either Dex or Constitution. I have to read Volo's guide again, but it's a decent number plus one of your modifiers for your AC. And how Velshroon, like his priests are, they don't wear armor. They have essentially the undead, because they're necromancers, to take the blows for them. So I thought it'd be cool to have it to where your character's in the Velshroon, like, since there's no standard thing, like, you and your DM talk about like the colors that your character will have for the Velshroon in the tribe area that you guys that your tribe has. So you wear those colors, and you're going around, you have very minimal healing spells. So you have like maybe Cure Wounds and Healing Word, and maybe a maybe a resurrection spell, like once you get to that point, if you can. I think that's cleric only, I'm not sure. But how I do it for spells, I do it to where you can get any class list. So I honestly, resurrection could work, but you know, you get like minimal healing spells and then necromancy spells completely from then on, because you're more of raising the dead and using them to like do stuff like just kill for you. You might get a couple like damage cantrips, so like, you know, something like Eldritch Blast would work completely. I think that'd be a really cool idea. And then Firebolt. But from then on, it's like necromancy to the core. But you know, this character doesn't just, like, once he becomes, if he does become the Lich, he doesn't just stop, like, and you're wondering where would his soul phylactery be. He has a tribe full of people that abduct others, and then a lot of old people already. So, you know, if he magically doesn't have enough for just only one, you know, and he has to go out and get more for a second or third or whatever it is, like, there's still a lot of old LizardFolk that could be sacrificed for them, and to which are more than likely willingly sacrifice himself, because they understand the survival-esque thing, and they know that they're going to die by the time he comes back getting these things, because, you know, it takes forever to get these things, and they're already abducting people. So I completely can see, like, you know, a ritualistic Aztec thing of sacrificing yourself to the aid of essentially the Lich that you or whoever has become. And, you know, these people who have come into the swamp, say it's like a child or whatever, it doesn't matter. I doubt it'd be a child. Children are smarter than just going into a swamp, but then there's stuff that happens, you know, it's D&D, but you know, like it could be a merchant's bodyguard or something like that, you know. It's or just a simply a wandering courier who magically got stuck, and they just take him in and they see what he's useful for. They try and pry whatever magical secrets they can from him. They literally torture them until they try and give up anything. And then once they're exhausted or they have deceased, you know, they'll always keep that soul phylactery nearby to where the soul just enters it and then it's devoured, you know, and they're constantly feeding it. And I would like to see it to where the, like, even though the lich is supposed to like have the flesh melt away, and the more healthy that you are, the more you look good, essentially, stuff like that. I think it'd be really cool to see how, like, instead of the lizard folk losing, essentially becoming just bones and stuff like that, I think it'd be really cool to see how he molts his scales a lot, and he's skinnier than normal, but he's not like undead in terms of looks, to where it's like he just looks really emaciated. And like the more that you feed him souls, the more he'll like grow healthy, to where it's like, instead of essentially having it to where it's standard, like you just look undead and then eventually turn into just a skull. I think it'd be really cool to start off as like, you could look like a normal lizard folk eventually, and if you don't feed it correctly, then you could be the skull, you know. And I think that would be really cool. And then to continue it, like say you did make like a couple people into liches, you know, you can only have so much, I would say, like maybe a couple. And then once this group is already done, they're still going to be trying to get more, of course, but they could start being like, you know, let's start encroaching around the place. Like they start using up more, and they start like becoming more based on territory and such like that, instead of just being straight on the point of, oh, we're going to take only what is needed. They're going to start indulging themselves. Like the liches are going to start killing people. They're going to need to reproduce more, because, like, you know, it's only but so much people can wander into your thing. So they're going to start having a higher birth rate to start sacrificing these souls. So, you know, say like when someone gets old, they start sacrificing themselves to feed these people, and then, you know, they start getting in more people. Like they start slightly kind of like a immigration type of thing. They start allowing these people, and they start having families. But the promise is, once you get old, you're to sacrifice yourself, into which that will limit people already wanting to come in and stuff like that. And I think that would be really cool. And eventually people are going to wonder why, like, you know, like say it's like an empire type of status, like the human empire, elven empire, like where the hell are these people going, you know, and why are we sending these people out to these places? They're never coming back, you know. And they start finding out like there's a lizard folk empire essentially, and they start trying to find emissaries or whatever, or possibly try and kill them, and then they find out they're liches by a survivor, and they're like, oh my god, there's literally undead liches, and of course you have to be a wizard for that. So, you know, it's essentially the more liches that there are, the more they join the ranks, and then those liches are actually the people running the place. And these like lizard folk that are not liches, they don't care. Like, and if there's a disagreement, they'll just duke it out in terms of like a fight, and then whoever wins is like the ones that gets, like, say they wanted to see who's a head lich, you know, and his vote counts for 2, or he has ultimate ruling. So say they like they wanted to exterminate the entire elven society that lived with them, and say if you do the count of 2, you know, say the head lich says no, they don't want that, because they could see them as being useful, but you know, the opposite team has 3 and he counts as, like, there's only one person thing, otherwise, you know, he counts as 3, and then they could fight a little bit to see who wins, and whoever wins does get the thing. Or if he has absolute ruling, you know, if he does want to be executed and everyone says no, you know, they get executed. And like, that'd be really cool to see as a DM standpoint. And then I think it'd also be cool to have eventually, if a character dies, a character who lives under that. So that'd be another cool character concept that I'm probably gonna write that down to see. But yeah, that's my concept video. If you guys aren't subscribed to AJ Pickett, you guys should definitely go over there and like and subscribe to his channel, The Mighty Glue Stick. It's really cool, and there's a lot of really awesome videos over there. I love his channel. You guys should definitely check it out. say the Critical Failure sent you guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe our own content. Go visit us on our Instagram, critical.failure, as we post often enough. We have a couple actual video ideas, so don't be afraid to send us on Instagram or in the comments below what you guys want us to do, because honestly we got a couple things lined up, but seeing what you guys want us to do would be really cool. But again, like, subscribe, and I'm Brandon One from Critical Failure, and this is the end of the video, so ciao.